Welcome to the Deep Dive. Okay, today we're really unpacking something intense, a rap beef that goes way beyond just lyrics. This isn't just songs, it spills over into real life, personal stuff, and frankly, often tragic consequences. We're doing a deep dive into this long-running, sometimes deadly rivalry between two big Sacramento rappers, CML Lavish D and Mozzy.
Yeah, and for this dive, we've got, well, quite a stack of material. Artist bios, the actual raw song lyrics, interview transcripts, a lot to work with. And what's really interesting is you get the story from their own mouths, firsthand stuff, but also these outside perspectives. It helps paint a fuller picture. So our mission really is to pull out the key bits of info. We want to understand the roots, how it all blew up, and the, frankly, massive real-world fallout. And I think you'll see some maybe surprising things about how tangled up street politics and the music scene can get.
Okay, so to really get this, we need to know the main players. Let's start with CML Lavish D. Born September 2nd, 1984, makes him 40 now. He's a rapper, producer, known for that CML Lavish D YouTube channel. It's got like over 360,000 subscribers. Lots of his music videos are on there. His first album, Cash Me Out, that was back in 2012. And he's connected with Jay Prince too, right?
That's right. And then there's Mozzy, born Timothy Patterson, June 24th, 1987, so he's 38. Used to go by Lil Tim, actually, before Mozzy. And 2015 was just huge for him. He put out, get this, 4 full albums, Down to the Wire, 4th Ave Edition, Gangland Landscape, Yellow Tape Activities, and Blada. I mean, 4 albums in 1 year. That's prolific.
Yeah, seriously. And just for context, like popularity-wise, when these sources were put together, Mozzy was way higher ranked. Number 5,091 most popular. CML Lavish D was further down, hashtag 44,714. Gives you a sense of their public profile.
Okay, but here's what's absolutely crucial. The background. This whole thing is rooted deep in Sacramento's, well, its unique gang scene. You had Crips and Bloods culture come up from LA in the 80s, but in Sac, it kind of morphed, became this really complex web of like subsets, local groups, intense rivalries, and specifically there's this long beef between Oak Park, that's Mozzy's area, and South Sacramento, which CML Lavish D is linked to. South Sac, they often call it Iraq. Seriously. And that conflict, Oak Park versus South Sac, it's been hot since the 80s.
Wow, since the 80s. So, okay, this deep street stuff, these generational beefs, how did that actually jump into the music? When did CML and Mozzy start going at each other lyrically?
Well, it was kind of inevitable, right? Around 2013, it just explodes into the music. Diss tracks start flying. And the first shots were really direct. There was this guy, Lick, described as CML Lavish D's little homie from Meadowview that's in South Sac. He drops a diss track. But here's the thing. He films parts of the video in Oak Park, at the Oak Park Market, like a known spot. Even shows footage, apparently, of an Oak Park guy getting beaten up in the video. That's a serious provocation.
Filming in the rival neighborhood? That's bold.
Extremely bold. So Mozzy Lil Tim, back then, remember, he hits back fast with his song Headshots. And for his video, he films at the Meadowview Market, Licks area, and on Mack Road. Now, Mack Road is significant. It's tied to the killing of a guy named Jack, supposedly by an Oak Park member. Jack was someone often dissed in Oak Park raps. So filming there was pointed. Then Mozzy drops The Truth in 2013. And this one, it directly names names. Disses Jack, Mack Road, CML's 30-game lit crew.
Wait, 30-game lit? What's that referring to?
It's a reference to CML's crew and their alleged activities, likely gang-related. Very specific call-out. Mozzy also dissed Lick's baby mama in that track, various Crip figures, including a guy named Stunanook. And Stunanook, he was actually killed later, tragically, 2016, in front of his kids, widely believed to be by someone from Oak Park.
Man, so these weren't just vague insults, super personal, referencing real people, real events, real crews, right from the jump.
Exactly. Deeply personal, tied directly into the existing street narratives. That's why it escalated so fast, moving beyond just, words on a track.
Yeah, you can see how this isn't just posturing. It feels like it crosses that line into real-world violence almost immediately.
Yeah.
How did that escalation become, well, so tragically clear?
Right. There's a moment that really crystallizes it, a really heartbreaking point. Is CML Lavish D's own The Truth video. In his response video, he features his blood brother. That term means a really close associate, often gang-related, a guy named Zalazo. And then, just tragically, within 12 to 24 hours of that video dropping, Zalazo was killed.
12 to 24 hours.
Yeah. CML himself said in an interview, "It changed me like a motherfucker." He absolutely believed it was directly because of the video. He pointed out, look, everyone named in that track, they were actual gangbangers, not just rappers playing a role. And Zalazo, he said, had mandated, like insisted on being in the video because he was, quote, a participant in a lot of shit I was saying.
That immediate consequence, Zalazzo's death right after the video,
Mm-hmm.
that's just chilling. Does that specific incident really show how direct that link is between a public diss and deadly violence in their world?
It really does. It's a profound, just sobering example. The rap isn't separate from the reality. It is the reality, or at least a direct catalyst for it. That event just collapsed any perceived distance between a diss track and, someone actually dying. It's this awful feedback loop. CML's comment about how it changed him, it just underlines the stakes. They're immediate, they're real, they're life and death. And, it's worth adding, Mozzy looked back on that time, too. Said he was at a point in my life where I ain't give a f when he made his video. He knew his The Truth video was seen as a major low blow, partly because CML's guys had filmed their response right in Mozzy's neighborhood, like invading his turf publicly. And CML's direct involvement didn't just have street consequences, it led to legal trouble, too. He ended up doing jail time. There was this incident at a mall where he and his crew jumped a Mozzy affiliate, a guy named Kill Bill. They filmed it, posted it online, called it a being honest response. So yeah, very public, very physical, not just music anymore.
So CML gets locked up, but Mozzy's career is kind of taking off at this point. How did the beef carry on, or maybe change, with one of them behind bars?
Right, Mozzy's star was definitely raising, and his disses became a bit more subtle, maybe? He started referring to CML as wink wink or winky doodle, which was apparently a nod to some skits CML used to do. So still dissing, but maybe less direct. The tension, though, still very much there. But CML wasn't quiet just because he was locked up. Not at all. That's when he released the famous Where's Waldo diss tracks. From prison. These went hard at Mozzy, talked about Mozzy's family member of Mozzy getting shot, and obviously calling Mozzy Waldo, saying he was hard to find, hiding out.
And there was that weird detail about his parole, right? What did the sources say his parole officers allegedly made him do about Mozzy? What does that tell you?
Yeah, that's a wild detail from the interviews. CML claimed his parole officers actually made him sign papers saying he would not say Mozzy's name. I mean, that tells you how seriously law enforcement took the potential for violence between them. They saw it as a direct threat. But for CML, it seemed to just make him more determined. He said once he was off parole, he was going right back at it. He also talked a lot about his independence, making money out the mud, no record deal, no sponsors, often kind of contrasted that with Mozzy's path.
Okay, so it's mainly CML and Mozzy. But did this beef kind of suck other people in, other Sacramento rappers?
Oh, definitely. It branched out. Remember Lick, CML's little homie? After he got out of jail, he dropped another diss at Mozzy called No Air, called Mozzy a liar. But that video, the police apparently used it against Lick later. He got caught with guns, and because it was his third strike, he got 30 years to life.
Wow. The video itself led to that.
That's what the sources suggest, yeah. A tragic outcome. And the beef even reached, Sacramento OGs. Sibo, a real pioneer. Mozzy said something publicly about Sibo not doing enough for the city. That led to Sibo dropping a diss track called Body for Body, and they went back and forth hard on Instagram. So yeah, it spread.
Moving from diss tracks and jail time,
Yeah.
there's that terrible incident, the shooting at Sibo's video shoot. Can you walk us through that? How did it connect back to this feud?
Yeah, that was August 2017. Just another stark reminder of the real danger. They were filming Sibo's video in Meadowview Park, South Sacramento. A shooting breaks out. One man, Ernie Cadeno, 49 years old, was killed. 4 others were injured. And CML Lavish D, he was actually there. He'd just gotten out of prison. The connection to the beef became pretty clear. Guys affiliated with Oak Park were arrested for the shooting, and the reports claimed these guys snitched on Mozzy, saying he gave them the guns for the shooting. I mean, that's a heavy accusation. Direct implication in a fatal shooting.
And Mozzy's own view on things like ceasefires. It sounds incredibly bleak, calling them fake, saying their reaction to a death is go kill something. What does that really show about the code, or maybe just the reality, governing these situations?
It paints a really grim picture, doesn't it? It suggests that in that world, peace talks are often seen as, well, pointless, maybe even naive, especially right after someone gets killed. His view just highlights this relentless cycle of retaliation. One of ours just died, go kill something. That's the mindset he described, and the personal cost he mentioned, losing 20 to 25 close friends to violence since he was 14. That's staggering. It gives you a window into the lived reality that fuels this stuff. And then you have figures like Whack 100 getting involved. He's a big name music executive, manager. known for getting in the middle of these kinds of conflicts. He actually revealed he stepped in when CML's crew was trying to get a deal with Cash Money Records. Told Birdman basically, look, I'm loyal to Mozzy. I ain't messing with that deal. He blocked it. And even more, Whack 100 admitted he personally deleted a diss track Mozzy had made in response to CML's Where's Waldo?
He deleted Mozzy's track. Why?
To stop it escalating further, he basically told Mozzy, focus on your career, don't give this guy the attention, trying to manage the situation, prevent more heat.
So Whack 100, this big industry player, is actively blocking deals, deleting diss tracks. That's pretty hands-on. What is his involvement signal about how the industry itself views these potentially dangerous feuds?
It's incredibly revealing. It shows that, yeah, even at the highest levels of the industry, people recognize this isn't just entertainment. There are real, potentially fatal consequences. Whack 100 obviously felt the need to step in and try to cool things down, probably for Mozzy's career, sure, but likely also out of genuine concern for safety. It underlines that this stuff isn't just performance, it's got life or death stakes that even powerful industry figures feel they need to manage. It's also pragmatic, right? Trying to keep an artist focused on making music and money, not endless beef. Which leads to this kind of contradiction, or maybe complexity. Whack 100 calls it real beef, but he also says, since they don't mostly live in Sac anymore, it should be over with. But the sources we looked at, they indicate the disses, the tension. It didn't just stop. It suggests these things are so deep, so personal, that geography doesn't just erase them.
Right. So even though Whack 100 hopes it should be over because they've moved, the evidence suggests it lingers. What does that persistence, despite the distance, tell us about how deep these personal feuds run?
It tells us they're not just about turf, They're built on history, loyalty, perceived disrespect, personal losses, things tied to their identity, their past. Moving away doesn't just wipe the slate clean. The history, the emotion, it travels with them. And having this public platform, the music, keeps amplifying it. It really shows how these conflicts, rooted in street life and marked by real tragedy, just keep getting replayed and magnified through their art. Makes it incredibly hard to just let go. You even see it reflected in how people talk about Mozzy's music. One reviewer called him the best rapper in Cali, praised the gangster shit, the real shit, melodies, flow, gave an album an 8.5 out of 10. But even that reviewer noted, the themes can get repetitive, which kind of suggests how much his lived experience, this ongoing reality, just dominates his art.
And CML, on the other side, he's constantly pushing that keeping it real angle, the independent success story. How do those narratives that focus on authenticity play into their art, especially in the context of the rivalry?
Oh, it's totally baked into the art. For CML, hammering home the keeping it real, the out the mud, no deal success, that's a direct contrast often to how he portrays Mozzy's journey. It becomes part of the battle. It's an assertion of his own credibility, his own authenticity, almost like using his life story as another weapon in the lyrical fight. It's all intertwined.
So this deep dive, looking at CML, Lavish D, and Mozzy, it really lays bare this intense, often devastating connection between music, street culture, and these really deeply personal loyalties.
Yeah, exactly. It's so much more than just a standard rap beef. It really reflects this ingrained cycle of violence, retaliation, something that's cost lives and just profoundly shaped the reality for these guys and their communities.
Okay, so here's something to think about, maybe chew on after this. We see these extreme real-world consequences laid out in the sources. Does the internet, by giving this global stage for diss tracks, for these public declarations of war, does it accidentally make these conflicts worse? Does it prolong them, conflicts that maybe would have stayed more local otherwise? Or is it just holding up a mirror? Is it just reflecting a brutal reality that was already there long before social media came along? Something to consider.